collective healing. I have to talk a little bit about it. My first ever hot seat session with you was about healing, and ever since then the concept of healing has changed within me. My profession, I call myself a healer, but actually I do not heal, and I always knew it. And watching you over all these years, or watching us over all these years, my impression is that you are sort of collectively shifting perspective, and the shifting of perspective is what heals. I mean, healing is just a word for some...
Those are perfect words, because it is the releasing of the awareness or expectation of what is, and the allowing of a desire. So it is a shifting of perspective that it is about. It's a letting something in that would be in if you weren't doing that thing that you're doing that's keeping it out.
Right,
Yes.
and you just made it so clear that it is actually bridging beliefs, or morphing beliefs, or shifting perspective. And I get such a thrill out of this new concept of collective healing that is going on with these... Well, actually we are a mastermind group here, so we add to the collective shifting. We add here with...
It's interesting to us to hear all of you making it so much more difficult than it needs to be. Because when you think about it simply, law of attraction is responding to your broadcast. And whatever it is you are broadcasting is becoming more. So if you are talking about what you want, it's becoming more. And if you're talking about what you don't want, it's becoming more.
That's it.
If you're talking about what you want, it's becoming more. If you're talking about what you don't want, it's becoming more. When what you don't want becomes more, what you do want is hindered. When you're talking about what you want, it becomes more. When you talk about what you want, it becomes more. When you talk about what you want, it becomes more. When you talk about what you want, it becomes more. When you talk about what you want, it becomes more. When you talk about what you've got, it becomes more. When you talk about what you've got that you want, it becomes more. When you talk about what you've got that you don't want, it becomes more. This is so simple.
Yeah.
So you want to ask yourself, why do I ever talk about what I don't want? Why do I talk about what I don't want? Because I'm defending it, because I'm comparing it, because someone's challenging it. None of those reasons hold up once you begin being a deliberate creator like you're capable of being. And so really it's just a matter of broadcasting about what you do want, and then your beliefs will change. Do you have to see it before you believe it, or can you believe it before you see it? And this is why we're talking with you the way we always have. We've been talking about the receptive mode or the allowing mode from the beginning of our interaction through Esther in this way. But today we're making it so clear to you as we help you to understand that these thoughts are turning to things. What are you planning? Whatever it is that you are talking about is what you're planning. It's like you're acknowledging that it begins and then it becomes more. And that at first it's just thought, and then it becomes words, and then it becomes something that you can see and hear and smell and taste and touch, a full-fledged, full-blown manifestation, materialization. And so whatever it is that you're broadcasting, that's what you're planning. That's what you're planning. So don't you want to plan for things that you believe that you will really like when they get there?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes. And more of it, and more, and more,
so
and more.
Even the subject of healing is sort of talking about what you don't want.
Right.
Because it's starting from a place
exactly,
that you don't want to be.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
just instead of calling it healing, let's call it living happily ever after. Let's call it lifing. Let's call it lifing. Let's call it normal. Let's call it natural. Let's call it flowing. Let's call it allowing. You see what we're getting at?
Yes, right. Yeah, I adore what you started in the last session, or how you ended the last session with the non-conditioned, with the non-verbal way. What I would love to have is, well, you actually did it today too, give words to the non-thought. I don't know how to say that.
That's because to give words to the non-thought.
Yeah, right.
But you see, that's what emotions are.
Right. Yeah.
Emotions are the unconditioned.
Yeah. It sort of reminded me of what you did with the ABC game, like finding words that feel good. But somehow it has shifted, and I feel how good it feels. And so I want to strengthen that vibration.
Once you manage to get your vibration with a little bit of momentum, so that you're really feeling it and the inspiration begins to flow, then more and more words, more and more descriptive words that support and enhance and encourage the emotion follow too. And then situations happen, like our friend was talking about, feeling so good and feeling frisky in her body and feeling eager about life and wanting to get on the tender and wanting to go find the shore and wanting to experience that. And then it just became more and more and more and more and more. So not only was she there enjoying the feel of the water, but now more people who were having the potential to enjoy the water. And it is notable that they were children, because they haven't talked themselves out of the pleasure of that. In other words, many adults are looking for better beaches or looking for different circumstances, or there's something wrong with this or that, but the children don't care. If there's water, they're happy, and if they're in it, they're happier still. And so everything that she had going on in her vibration, so not only was it pleasurable feelings, but pleasurable impulses and good decisions and good timing of decisions, and then rendezvousing with more and more and more until you saw her. She was almost irresponsibly breathless. It was almost irrational. Her enthusiasm for what she had experienced, it wasn't very meaningful to anybody else, because you weren't there. You weren't there, and it wasn't your desire. It wasn't your creation that had crescendoed into something more. But your experience will crescendo into something more and more and more and more and more. You've just got to realize this singular thing, that whatever you're broadcasting is creating momentum. And when momentum toward what you want is happening, and then you offer a thought that causes momentum toward what you don't want, the momentum toward what you don't want slows the momentum toward what you do.
And so how can I catch this moment?
So if you didn't do that thing you do that slows it down, the momentum would naturally build and build and build until the ideas would flow and the words would flow and the experiences would flow and the manifestation would flow. And that's the way that it would be all of the time. In other words, you would never have to have so many of the contrast experiences to parlay your desires. What's happening with you now is that you're going through the contrast, knowing what you don't want, knowing what you do want. So you throw a little bit of it in the vortex, knowing what you don't want, knowing what you do want, throwing a little bit of it in the vortex. And then law of attraction is working on all of this at levels that you can't even relate to. You don't even realize how much you've put there. But those pieces of thought, those vibrations that you set into motion, are becoming more and more and more and more and more, and the potential for you to rendezvous with them becomes greater and greater and greater and greater the more non-thought that you hold. So over time, you're someone who's been listening to us for a long time. You've heard us stand on our head in endless different ways to help you to find some tactic, some technique, some approach to life, something that you might do that would make you more likely to get into the receptive mode, where you could begin to realize in the fullness of potential the things that you've put there. So we say to you things like, if you would meditate, if you would quiet your mind, if you would quiet your mind for 15 or 20 minutes, don't ask more than 15 or 20 minutes, but if you would quiet your mind, if you would just find something to focus upon. So then you wonder, well, what is meditation? Because when I sit to meditate, I don't quite know what to do. And we say, find something to focus on. Listen to the dripping of a faucet, or focus on the flicker of a flame, or listen to the sound of the air conditioner in the room that you're in. Listen here. You can hear that, can't you? And if you focus there for a little bit, if we were quiet, which we never are, you could focus on that. You could just focus on that. Within a minute or two or three, if you were listening for something that you had to train your ears to hear, listening for something and looking forward to hearing it and feeling satisfied when you hear it, and then listening deeper to hear if there's more within it. Just that simple focus would cause you to not be at the same time focusing on things that are hindering you. And in that simple process, you could, in a minute or two, certainly in a 3 or 4 or 5, certainly in 5 or 10 or 15, by the end of 15 minutes, you could accomplish the receptive mode. Well, now we know that accomplishing the receptive mode is all that is necessary for you to live happily ever after. And yet, do you meditate very often? Do you accomplish that quieted mind? Do you listen for that feeling of alignment? Or are you fixing problems and sorting things out and talking about what is? And then we think of another brilliant idea to guide you into alignment and into alignment and into alignment. In other words, there are endless ways that you could go about it, but what it really comes down to is that you are thinking mechanisms and you want to think. And we love that about you because that's the way you create. That's the way you mold the clay. But when you think in opposition to your desire, then you hinder your desire. And so then we help you to understand what your guidance system is about. We help you to understand that you're not the only one thinking about what you're thinking about. In fact, we're now helping you to understand that your inner being has been thinking about what you're thinking about for a long time. That's in many cases why you're thinking about it right now. The process has already begun. And so we want to help you to feel that you are an extension of that source energy. We want you to feel that you have source energy thinking through you. We want you to feel the fullness of who you are. And so we talk to you about your relationship with non-physical. All the time wanting to help you to return more to a vibrational understanding of who you are and not so much a see it, hear it, smell it, taste it, touch it aspect of who you are. In all of the conversation that we have with almost all of you, the manifestation is so important that you don't really want for very long to do the other work, even though the other work is essential for the achieving of everything that you want. It's like you want to take a shortcut. It's like you want somebody else to present something in a way that all you have to do is look at it. And when you look at it, you'll feel better. But the thing about that is you don't get practiced. You don't get practiced about directing your thoughts. You've got to practice yourself in sync with this source energy that is within you. And nobody else can do it for you because you have created a very unique vortex. Your inner being is tending for you a unique vibrational frequency that is of your own making. No one else owns it. No one else is going to swoop in and achieve your desires. Everyone has their own individual desires. Your frequencies are that unique, you see. And so that's why. So explain to you, you are more than this physical body. You are an extension in this physical body of so much more. You say, yeah, we sort of kind of get that. You are an extension of source energy. You are so much more than you know in this physical body. Now that you're here, you give birth to even more. And you say, I don't really get that. And we say, so we tell you again and again for years, we write book after book after book, helping you to know that there is a vibrational aspect of you. You have become a unique vibrational being. You are the creator of you. You are the creator of you. You are the creator of the expanding you. And so you've created this vibrational version of you that you can feel your relationship with it right here in this moment. You can feel how focused into that you are or how not focused into that you are. And after a while, as you start getting the hang of this, as you start to acknowledge that you are the creator and that you have created something that is magnificent and that all that is and that source is focused with you upon this, then you begin to catch glimpses. They're sporadic at first. Glimpses of worthiness, glimpses of expectation, glimpses of positive belief. And that's when what you're calling healing begins to happen. In other words, that's when you begin to consistently allow well-being to flow. That's when you begin to consistently feel good. That's when you begin to live life less conditionally. That's when you don't need anybody else to do anything, because you know that anything that anybody else is doing doesn't have anything to do with your relationship between you and you see. And then you are off and running. Now you are being in this moment that complete extension of who you are. And now, or let's say then, finally, now, you can begin to be what you came to be.